Greetings to all of you from Pickens County, South Carolina, USA. I will show you how to figure out which station can talk to one another when the repeater is down. Why the phrase herding cats? Well, getting everyone in a very diverse group of individuals like us hams to totally agree upon anything is almost impossible. It's like trying to herd cats. There's always one that will go astray. This exercise has everyone in a group focused on a single task at hand, and no one has an opportunity to go astray. As a result, all simplex contact possibilities within the group are discovered. This presentation is being read to you in a storybook fashion for no other reason than to keep the storyteller from going astray. As you can see, our members are scattered all over the county that has lots of hills, valleys, and a few mountains between each member. Those blue lines are creeks, streams, and rivers running in the valleys. All of us normally interact with each other and hold a weekly net with a round table using a repeater on Glassy Mountain. The Emergency Operations Center also has access to all of us through the duplex feature of the repeater. All Pickens County communication group members can interact with one another and the Emergency Operations Center over the repeater on Glassy Mountain at 1,800 feet. But what can be done if the repeater is down? The exercise and the data analysis to follow will demonstrate a surprising simplex capability on a single agreed upon frequency. In our case, the frequency was 147.540 megahertz. With a repeater down during an incident, the Emergency Operations Center, EOC, antenna at 1,200 feet is now the main goal for simplex communication by our group. Duplex talks are no longer possible. The exercise to be discussed achieved that goal and even revealed multiple relay routes to the EOC and a very large amount of peer-to-peer possibilities, all using simplex on a single frequency. The challenge we faced was how many of us could communicate with the EOC without the use of the repeater. As it turned out, almost all of us, as illustrated by the result of the exercise. The exercise will result in a matrix that allows construction of a communication pattern of the EOC as illustrated here. Another benefit of the exercise is the revelation of all other stations that are within the reach of any participant for clear peer-to-peer communication. Shown here are all contacts possible for KF4 GGK as derived from the matrix. But what about those not so lucky for direct communication with the EOC? Taking Andy as an example, the exercise determined that he actually has 7 choices for a relay station to get through to the EOC. There are only 6 lines shown because one location is shared by a husband and wife team with 2 call letters. All of this is derived from the simplex matrix constructed from this exercise. We could even place all communication paths for all members between each other and the EOC on the map, but it would turn into a piece of modern artwork. So it is better to consult the derived simplex matrix for any desired capability. Back in 2021 at the Stone Mountain Hamfest near Atlanta, the exercise concept came into fruition. Alex Norwood, K4BAN, visited us in our motorhome, and over freshly brewed coffee, we got into a lively discussion. The result was the foundation of the exercise, a schedule-defined 1-minute interval time-based transmission sequence by all participants. The following year, we held the Simplex exercise in January with great success with the talented help of Thomas Poole, W4ATP. Ann Smith, KO4HYC, wrote a nice article about her club's experience using this exercise later that year. It appears in the AndersonRadioClub.com newsletter. That's AndersonRadioClub.com. So, how do we start this exercise? Well, first, we collect all the participating members' call letters in alphabetical order on a list. The coordinating EOC station appears in the beginning and end for opening and closure. Second, a time slot for transmission of 1 minute is assigned to each participant, along with the date, starting time, and frequency used by all. Third, the list is distributed to each participant with the data collector's address at the bottom. This was my generated long list. The timing can be done via the website time.gov, that's time.gov, or a cell phone or an atomic clock. All feature at least 1 second accuracy. The cell phone may not have an indicator for seconds, so an eagle eye is required. The person on the air should talk the entire minute because the listeners have their squelch turned off. And as you know, nothing is worse than the very loud rushing noise when a carrier is absent. As the exercise progresses, each listener simply places a check mark next to the station that is heard clearly enough to be understood. For simplicity, signal reports are to be avoided. The listener must make the intelligibility decision and not leave it up to the data collector that never heard his radio. During your time slot, a simple note should be entered. Shown here is the phrase, "This is me." Do not be tempted to transmit when you hear nothing. It will confuse all listeners that can hear you and make the time slot invalid. The data collector now has the most time-consuming task of constructing and filling in a table, now called a matrix. The number of returned reception reports will determine the number of columns and rows needed, plus 2 for adding call letters around all outer edges, again in alphabetical order. In the case shown here, we have 5 participants. They are listed on the row and column as is customary for displaying 2 possibilities. The letters ABC and EOC are replaced with your actual call letters. The diagonal that is common to both the row and column contains the first name of the call letter owner. Notice the symmetry about the diagonal. Because of the symmetry, each data point is entered twice, once above and once below the diagonal. In the case shown, C has heard B, or B has heard C, or they heard each other at different time slots. Forgetting this dual entry is the most frequent error while filling in the matrix. Also, because of this symmetry, it is possible to make interpretations from the top to the bottom, or bottom to the top, as well as left to right or right to left. To avoid visual tracking errors, the right column is also labeled with the call letters as well as the bottom row. This is the final appearance of the matrix. All stations capable of simplex communications are identified. This was the final result of our exercise. Our matrix was very large at 21 by 21 squares. The center diagonal, of course, contains the first name of the call letter owner. Other variations are possible as long as the matrix retains its diagonal symmetry for quick discovery of any needed relay station. I had to look at 441 lines on 21 tables and did it twice to catch any errors, along with two other persons proofreading the matrix for any inconsistencies and omissions. This is a major time-consuming activity and should be left to someone able to focus on a repetitive task without being distracted easily. The first item of interest is, of course, who can communicate with the EOC. Looking at the matrix, you see that the EOC is on the bottom right, call letters WX4PG. By traveling either up or to the left, all stations that have simplex capability with the EOC have the word simplex written in their vertical or horizontal box. Just as shown previously, any simplex cell encountered in the EOC row or column signifies a communication capability with the station and is marked here in green. This two-axis duplication of entries results in easier interpretation by making it immaterial if we go left and right or up and down. The result will always be the same. From the green simplex station list, a communication pattern can be placed on a map. This is easily comprehended by anyone. It also looks great. It is now obvious that most members have EOC communication capability. Remember now, we can go either up or down or up, left to right, or right to left. This approach can be used for any other participant. Who can I get for sure on simplex? Let's take Gary, KF4GGK, as an example. He is circled in the center. We can go either horizontally or vertically in the KF4GGK row or column and encounter simplex marked boxes. In this case, we marked all the simplex stations on top with circles and on the right with circles. We could also mark them on the left with circles and on the bottom with circles. From these simplex boxes, all the other simplex stations that Gary can talk to are found. Here, all simplex stations are again marked in green to illustrate the process. Again, we can use either the horizontally marked stations or the vertically marked stations. They are all the same. And again, the communication pattern for KF4GGK can be constructed. The same can be done for all the other stations that participated in the exercise. What about the lonely person that has no link to the EOC? Well, going down the column for KI4LZI, Andy, lots of simplex cells are seen, but none at the bottom for the EOC. Let us stop at the first simplex block and go to the right to find the station that can relay to the EOC. In this case, it's KB3KVT. This time, let us come from the bottom to the third simplex block. Then we go to the right and find out that WB4LZT is a relay station to the EOC. Fortunately, each row now identified by a simplex contains a potential relay station. Going to the right, all stations with EOC contact are identified in green. These are now potential, the relay stations for KI4LCI. Note that N4DDS is a viable simplex contact, but it does not have contact with the EOC. See the empty block? No simplex. This shows someone not so lucky for direct communication with the EOC. We took Andy as an example. The exercise determined that he actually has 7 choices for a relay station to get through to the EOC. All of this is derived from the simplex matrix constructed from this exercise. We could even place all communication paths for all members between each other and the EOC on the map. But it would turn into a piece of modern artwork. So it's better to consult the derived simplex matrix for any desired capability. As we have seen illustrated, a simple sequentially time-based exercise can lead to a simplex interoperability matrix that solves the daunting task of who can talk to whom and how to establish relay routing even when the repeater is down. I hope to hear from you as you do this exercise and are successful with it. Thank you. Gary, KF4GGK.